Not only are we here celebrating Multicon in fandom, but we're also here to give back to the community. What does it mean for you to be a part of the LA Wildfire Relief and celebrating this community and LA?
Yeah, I love LA. I've lived here for over 20 years now, and so many people say so many things about Los Angeles, and most of them are true, but also most of them are false. I think we're not just a city full of vapid, self-absorbed narcissists, as can be it's seen in sort of how everyone's come together over what happened. I know it can be overwhelming for a lot of people going, there's so much going on. I feel paralyzed because I don't know how to help everybody that needs help. And I want to just push you back to Aunt May's quote from the first Spider-Man game, not just because that's why I'm here, but I've really, I should get it tattooed at this point. But she said, when you help someone, you help everyone. And that's huge for me because I often feel paralyzed. I'm like, these people need help. I can't help everyone. You can by helping one person at a time.
Now, speaking of Spider-Man, what have you learned about yourself through playing that role?
Oh, man. I have issues with responsibility to start with, and maybe that's what drew me to the role in the first place. And by that, I mean, I think I take it too much to heart, like Peter does, take it too much to heart. It's why, I've said this once before, but it bears repeating. People ask sometimes, who is Spider-Man's, worst, villain? And I would say it's Uncle Ben, because Uncle Ben told him, with great power comes great responsibility. And because he believes he has so much power, he believes he's responsible for everyone all the time and their safety. So in essence, because of what Ben told him, he's never going to be happy. He'll never be happy. But Aunt May said, when you help someone, you help everyone. And that's sort of, in my mind, that was sort of the balance, a salve, on what Ben said, which I talked to the writer about, and he's like, I did not even consider that.
I wouldn't have thought of
right?
it. That's incredible.
Some things are just meant to happen.
I love hearing voice actors speak for the simple reason is you guys play everything. So what's one role that's really challenged you the most to really find that sound?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I think the one that was very challenging for me was when I did Wonder Woman. Not because I don't know who the character is, and not because it was so difficult, as far as finding the placement in my voice, but because they had such a huge team of people on the line having to approve it. There was 30 people from the company giving approval on every line, and so it was very exciting because I couldn't believe I was getting to bring her to life, but at the same time it was so stressful because there's such an epic world that supports who she is, and I don't want to let the fans down, and I didn't want to let my work down, and I didn't want to let the team down, and so I think that was a little difficult.
Now, your husband is Yuri. He's fantastic. What is one of his favorite roles that he does that you enjoy?
Oh my goodness. I mean, this is choosing your babies, right? I mean, he loves being Spider-Man, and I mean, if I'm really honest, he is Spider-Man. He grew up loving superheroes and really connecting to this idea of being the best version of yourself, and he loves people. He wants to help. I mean, why are we here? We want to help people, right? And I think this idea of having a really strong sense of responsibility is just who he is. It's just his natural essence, which is why I think he was cast as Superman and as, Ben 10, he's heroes, right? That's who he embodies because that's who he is. So I think Spider-Man is very, very close to his heart, but it's hard. You start looking at his credits, you're like, well, this one, and this one, and this one, and this one, and so all of them.
Look, I didn't think I'd get so emotional during a Weasel episode, but I was in tears. Fantastic episode. How much did you know about Weasel's, that episode? Did you know anything about it when you were doing Suicide Squad? And when you read that episode, what was your first thoughts?
I think I knew, I didn't know the extent of the backstory, but I knew pretty early on that Weasel was innocent. I knew that when they talked about Weasel having killed, sorry for the spoiler, for Weasel having killed all these children, I had known that he didn't really kill all those children. So that I knew pretty early. And then when James had the whole concept for Creature Commandos, he broke it all down for me and went through the whole story pretty shortly before we started, recording.
Listen, I love me some GI Robot. Have we seen the last of that character?
Oh gosh, I hope not.
I hope not too.
I hope not. He comes back a little bigger and stronger than ever. Now I don't have any info yet about season 2, but I know we're making a season 2. So I hope that GI Robot gets to halt fascism some more.
When you read the script for X-Men 97 and you knew that you were playing Bishop, what were some of the things that immediately jumped out to you?
I can't believe it's back. Like, I couldn't, like, when we got the script originally, I mean, I got the call to do the role doing a game called Starfield for Bethesda, and so that was something that I was like, oh, I'm doing this thing, and now I'm getting this show. And then when I got the script, the first page kind of laid out, it's the world of beepers again, and we're back in the night, like laying out the whole world of what it was, and it got a part of myself excited that I hadn't felt in a long time. It was like reawoken, and so I felt nostalgic, I felt excited, I felt grateful most of all because I'm now friends with people that I grew up watching. You know, a lot of the original cast is back, and so it's a whole bunch of feelings, and it's still reverberating now. Like, it's been almost a year since the beginning of season 1, and like it's been amazing since then.
Where do you want Bishop to go in season 2? Where would you personally like to see Bishop go?
Personally, I would love to see more of a background of him, because he's somebody that, like, you know, he's a man out of time, so he doesn't really have a home necessarily anywhere. And so I would love to see an exploration of like where he came from and how he feels about it on a deeper level, because we sort of got that in the first series in the original 92. But I want to see, I'm actually going through and reading the comics to get a sense of his story on a bigger level for myself. But I would love to see his past, you know, so to speak, even though he like lives in different pasts, you know. But I'd love to see more of him and how he develops and what his feelings are on a deeper level. And hopefully I'll get to explore that as the character. So,
listen, sir, you are a legend in my household for one singular role, and his name is Cyborg. Right. So I got to ask you, now that you've voiced Cyborg over the years, how has the character evolved for you?
You know what? It's so cool that to play a character for as long as I have. It was over 20 years ago the first time that I played Cyborg.
I think about it.
I know, and I just had a friend of mine brought her niece over to say hello, and her niece was 30. Wow. And she was like, I was 10 years old watching Teen Titans when I was a kid, you know, and like you guys were my friends growing up because, you know, mom and dad were off at work, and you were you know, part of my little crew, you know, to help raise me, and it was a really cool show back then, and now it's gotten all silly, and honestly we write it for the parents more than the kids anyway, you know, right now, but it's just crazy to think, you know, that 10-year-old is 30 now, and you know, you know, it makes me feel old for a second, but I also feel like we're doing pretty good.